Okay. How this whole project started was I was involved in a business in Namibia, and through contacts that we've had, the Moringa projects in Africa is quite big, especially in Zambia, Malawi, and those northern countries. And then there was like an awareness that was created about the value
Yeah.
of Moringa. And me and my wife, we were actually traveling back to South Africa because I traveled between South Africa and Namibia on and off, through the year, throughout the year. And as we traveled, we saw this Moringa tree next to the road, but it was in the property of one of the locals there. We actually went up there and asked her, and it was full of seeds. And we asked her if we could maybe have some of this seeds. And we asked her, do you know what tree this is? She says, yeah, it's Moringa. My mother told me it's very good for the health.
Yeah.
And so we did a little exchange. We gave them some cool drinks and sweets, and in return they said, okay, take whatever you want. So we took off quite a lot there from the tree, and on the way back my wife was actually taking the what do you call it, the bark, the skin off, and collecting all the seeds.
How many seeds can you get approximately from one tree?
From one seed we average between 14 and 16 seeds per
pod.
what do you call it, a peel. In Afrikaans we call it a peel. It's
The thing that contains the seeds?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pod. So about 14 per
Yeah.
pod.
And yeah.
But how
so
many pods? Is the tree just full of pods?
It's full of pods.
Okay.
I mean, you will take off from a mature tree, if I must guess, close to 1,000 seeds. You can take off once it's in it's full grown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by arriving back here in South Africa, I said to my wife, well, maybe we should try it here. Now, the thing with Moringa is it doesn't need a lot of water. And it needs good drainage. Now, what we've done here is we then got some casual labor in and asked them to plant the trees. Now, because of the size of the tree, if it's full grown, you need it at least 3 meters apart. Because the whole idea here is to have this as our mother stock. Not so much for the leaves and the powder that you make from the leaves, but the pots, the seeds that you're actually going to get once the tree is full grown. And the idea there is then to get the seeds, plant them, and get some trees and sell the trees. The other option that we have is then to press the seeds and get the oil out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it says that the oil you can compare to like olive oil, so it's good for cooking. But I know people are actually using that to put it into, they make soap bars,
Yes. I've seen the products. Yeah.
all sorts of things with the oil as well. And yeah, so we started the digging. Now, our soil here is very rockery. We planted, well, we dug 180 holes. It took us 3 months with 2 laborers to dig through this rockery. It was quite a job.
Yeah.
And then obviously we put some, we got a lot of horse manure, and that's what we put into this ground mixing it with the soil, and we planted them. Now, it's a very fast-growing tree.
But were these that you were planting the original seeds that you had collected?
That's the original seeds that we collected on our way back to South Africa.
And you put the seed in the ground, or did you grow them into saplings
Now,
first?
we put it into bags in the nursery.
Okay.
And then when they approximately 600 millimeters, 60 centimeters high, we plant them out into the holes.
Okay.
Now the first year, because of the not so good soil and the environment is not 100% correct, we lost half of those trees. We lost 80 out of the 180. But we had a lot of seeds, so we the next year we replanted. We replanted the 80 that died. The second year we lost 40 of
the new ones.
Well, not only the new ones,
Okay.
but also some of the others. But we halved the amount that died. In the third year,
Well, what do you attribute that loss to? The same conditions?
the same conditions. Now, the trees that are actually growing very nicely at the moment is the ones that adapted to this weather climate.
The stronger seeds, maybe?
And the roots has gone through the rockery parts, so it has established itself. Now, what we are doing now, if there's a tree that's not doing well, we just replace it with another one until we find a tree that can actually penetrate.
Did you do anything different between year 1 and year 2 to half the loss, or was that just by chance?
No, it was just the natural development that took place.
Okay.
Yeah. So now at the moment we sit with, as I say, in the third year we replanted 20. Now I foresee that in the following year we most probably have to replace another 20. So the ones that I see that we're not that so happy with, we're going to replace them as well, until we find the tree that adapt and that will keep, that will adapt to the environment.
Yeah.
Now, what we do in the first 2 years, what I've done was I was trimming the trees to give them shape.
Yeah.
And we did quite a bit of leaf trimming, and we produced quite a bit of powder as well. Well, during the second year, we started looking at our marketing, if we want to market this. So with the help of with the help of Layla, we designed a logo and we created a name for the business, and we came up with the name Umuti, which in Zulu means tree of life. But also in the whole of Africa, if you talk about Muti, Muti is medicine. So the name blends very nicely in, Umuti, with what it actually is. It's medicine.
Yeah.
Now, we do have this clinic in Pinetown called Moringa Clinic. And me and Gian went in there one day, and there was a lot of people sitting there, it's like doctor's rooms. And we went to the guy behind the counter and asked him, where do you get your stuff from? But they import all their stuff. And he says, well, all these people here is all AIDS patients. Because of the nutritional value of Moringa, which will help, in the process of, keeping a person or what do you call it? An AIDS-infected person will benefit from the nutritional value.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So for the powder, when you did harvest it, do you have like an approximate amount of how much you got, how much powder?
well, in the first year, in total we did 8 kilograms of powder. Now you can imagine those leaves; they are very tiny little leaves.
Yeah.
So it was quite a lot of leaves that we've harvested to create that 8 kilograms. And we also did it in the second year. It was also about 8 kgs. But now, in the third year now, we are not trimming that much because I would like the trees to grow more into to mature and give them the opportunity. I mean, it was like an experiment that we did with all the trimming in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
Now when we plant, we only trim to shape that so it's in shape.
Did you do something wrong the first time around?
I don't think we've done anything wrong, but what could have gone wrong is that with so much trimming, it could have put the tree actually back, and that's why so many died in the first year.
Okay, possible the over pruning.
It's possible, I can't say it is, but yeah, that's
So
a
this
possibility.
year you're gonna test and do no pruning and see how the trees.
Just shaping.
Okay.
No real pruning, but just shaping.
And then Earth Haven started about a year ago. So this has been taken on or incorporated into Earth Haven.
Yeah, Gian and myself were sitting here one day, and I said to him, "Look, you've got this Earth Haven going, and I think the Moringa project will fit in very nicely."
Yeah.
And we decided then that we're going to incorporate it. Yeah.
And have you given powder? I think you've given it to some locals with HIV.
Yeah. Well, 3 of our staff members, all 3 of them, are AIDS infected. Or HIV infected, and yeah, I'm giving them every month a supply for the month, which they are using.
So in the future, looking at selling, possibly donating trees to communities, selling them to fund the project itself, doing more powder and capsules, maybe even you mentioned the other day, and also pressing the oil.
Yeah, I think if you look at the powder production from the leaves, you need quite a big piece of land. As I said to you earlier on, we planted these trees 3 meters apart because of the huge tree that it grows into. I mean, it grows up to, I think, last time I saw was about 12 meters they can grow. But if you do it for powder production, you plant those trees on a big piece of land, very close to each other. We're talking about 100 millimeter, 10 centimeter apart, and you harvest them like they harvest corn. So in other words, the tree doesn't get big, it stays small. But you have to, I mean, it's like once every, I think, 3 to 4 weeks you can actually harvest. If you've got like a hectare planted with all these moringa trees, and you can keep on harvesting, that would be the idea. Now, there are a lot of community projects going around in South Africa, and even here in KwaZulu-Natal, which I think when we reach that stage, and it will most probably be next year, we can then start and looking and go into partnerships or into joint ventures with the community projects.
Right.
Where they can have the land, because what, as I said earlier on, we need land and also an area that is not so get so cold is what it's getting here. It doesn't like very, very cold weather. So we will look at, if we look in KwaZulu Natal, we will most probably look towards the coast.
Okay.
I'm thinking of actually KwaZulu, KwaZulu Natal, in the northern parts of KwaZulu Natal, where the weather is not so extreme and there's more sandy soil, more, soil that is more, it's got much better drainage.
Right.
And then what I would suggest we look at then is that we go into a joint venture, we supply the trees, they harvest it and we buy it back from the community, all the dried leaves, and we go then do the whole process of getting it into powder and getting it into the market.
Okay. So basically with the 3 meters apart, we have space for 180 trees maximum here.
Correct.
And do you think that the seeds that these 180 trees produce, the seeds will have adapted to the climate and the soil, and the next batch might be more adapted for this area?
Well, just by looking at the experience that we had over the last 3 years, and you look at some of the trees, how well they are actually doing.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they do adapt.
Cool.
I think they definitely adapt to the climate. Obviously, there are casualties,
Yeah.
but if you keep on persisting and pushing, eventually, I think we will have all 180 trees will be there.
So do you think that it would be possible for people in the townships, in impoverished communities, to be able to grow their own trees? Or based on what you learned, is that something that you have to do through a community project only?
No, I think it would be a great thing if we can create that awareness in our communities. I mean, each person can have 2 or 3 of these trees in their backyard.
Yeah.
And if they know what's the value, I mean, from those trees, they can actually, and we can show them how to actually cure or dry the stuff and put it through a little blender and have make your own moringa.
And if you don't have electricity, you can use a pestle and mortar and crush it yourself?
Yes.
Like that, yeah. And they would just need space to hang the leaves that's out of the elements, out of the rain. And
you can hang them in your garage, you can hang them in a room in the house.
And would 1 or 2 trees be enough to provide for a family? The powder, like what could they get out of that?
Yeah. Look, you need plus minus a teaspoon of moringa on a daily basis.
So that's not very much.
It's not a lot, but it is so powerful.
Yeah.
The nutritional value in it.
Yeah.
I mean, people say that, especially up in Africa where we have famine and people die from hunger.